very mock music.
It's another beautiful day to be a Raider, draped in the silver and black. I represent the shield, I represent the swords. It's that time of night again, Raider Nation, and you've come back. Why? Because it's time. It's time to bring the
What's up, Raider Nation? I am the Commish, coming to you live from Hardcore Challenge Live Studios. Deep behind the enemy line, this is Raider Reaction. What's up, Raider Nation? And no, I'm sorry, NorCal Raider Rick's fan club, he is not here tonight. He is on Wednesday night. But I will tell you that you stopped by looking for him. He may be in the audience tonight, but he is not on the show tonight. But he is on the Wednesday edition of Ghost of the Post. Because we do Ghost of the Post twice a week. Monday and Wednesday. And today is a solo edition of Ghost of the Post. With yours truly, the Commish. As we drop back deep in the pocket and touch on everything league-wide, the latest Raider news, as well as everything that just happened in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. As there is still a champion that is going to be crowned this year, regardless of the fact that our season is over. So, it's a bummer, but it is what it is. The season continues on. The story's being written for somebody. We was hoping it would be a silver and black story, but now there is 4 possible stories. There are 4 possible stories that now can be written for the 2017 season. You have Nick Foles, the career backup, who's never really gotten the shot. Gets it by way of injury. Does he write this story? Is it written for Nick Foles and the Eagles? I can't see that. I can't see them leaving the kiddie table at all. No way. The Vikings Is it written for the Vikings to be the first team to play a Super Bowl in their home stadium? To win a Super Bowl, being the first team that plays in... Is that the story? That they get their first one in Minneapolis, in Minnesota? Is that the story that's to be written for 2017? It's possible. Is it the Jacksonville Jaguars, an expansion team, who all of a sudden happen to mold together a defense? Is it them? Are they the ones? Or does Tom Brady win another one and then just hang it up and ride off into the sunset? Because, all the coordinators are leaving. The coaching staff is starting to disassemble in New England after this season. The rumors are already out where each one's going. So what's it going to be? What's it going to be? I think we should jump right into that, because that obviously seems to be even above the Raider news, because there was some Raider news this weekend, but it wasn't anything breaking, and we'll get to that. But let's jump in to the playoffs, because I know there's a couple of you who are just dying to see me eat crow because my picks went... Like, obviously, many others as well. It's not like I was the only one. But I felt strong. Hey, man. I felt strongly. And you know what? Let's get into the first one right off the bat. Because my pick to win the Super Bowl was the Saints. Coming into the divisional round. Actually, coming into the playoffs was the Saints. I don't take back a single thing I said about the Saints. The Saints started out slow and proved why they were the better team in that game. As they came storming back from behind, Case Keenum was blowing that game in the second half. And then the football gods reached down and somebody hit the tackle button too early on Mr. Marcus Williams. And he missed the tackle. One of the most pathetic things I've ever seen. Well, we'll get into that later. I digress. Situational football. Everybody can say that you can't blame a loss on one person. Fuck hell, you cannot. My ass. You can blame that loss directly on Marcus fucking Williams. I don't care. He's gonna have to live with it forever because it was your fucking fault. Situational football. Simple situational football. My 11-year-old son understands on fucking Madden. If you tackle that guy, let him catch it. Who gives a shit? You don't go up and go for the pick. It don't fucking matter. You let him catch it, you tackle his ass. Simple. There ain't enough time for them to get up there and get the kickoff. Game over. Game over. It was... So, yes, the Vikings won. Yes, I picked that one incorrectly, and those of you who picked the Vikings to move on, you look like Nostradamus, and I look like Nostradamus. But, that's the way it is. And if it was the other way around, and the Saints actually came from behind and won the game, wouldn't nobody be throwing me a parade on Monday for picking it right. So, that's just the way it is. But to just sit back and as a football fan and to be there, what a fucking game. It came down to the end, and it was a game. It was the only game all weekend that I even wanted to watch, that I thought was going to be a good game. That was the only one. Was the only game I thought was going to be a good game, was the Vikings and Saints game. I didn't think the others were going to be a good game, although they turned out to be good games. I didn't think they were going to be. the script of the way that the 4 games played out this weekend were way different than I envisioned them playing out in all 4 games. So let's step into each one. Obviously, we touched on the last game of the weekend first, which was the Saints and the Vikings. The miracle in Minnesota, or the fucking, I don't know what they're gonna call it. But the thing is, will that get overshadowed by a possible Minnesota collapse in the next game? Because if Minnesota comes out and doesn't continue, if they get bounced by Nick Foles and the Eagles, man, I wouldn't be surprised. But here's the thing. Excuse me. Here's the thing. 3 of the teams remaining have a seat at the kiddie table currently. You've got the Jags. You've got your Vikings. Got your Eagles. None have ever raised the Lombardi Cup. They sit at the kiddie table at all NFL discussions because they hold no trump card. Will one of them open up a seat so that the Texans can finally sit at the kiddie table? Because they're still in the nursery. We're not going to allow the Texans to even sit at the kiddie table until there's a seat open for them. Because they don't deserve it. They're just Titan afterbirth, really. You barely even count in the lineage and the lore. So until there's a seat open, you don't even get to sit at the kiddie table. You're just in the corner with something shoved in your mouth. So will it be one of these teams? I'll get to that later. But let's just get to the actual action and what happened. Obviously, we discussed the Saints game. I can't believe it. And the man that I felt the worst for just watching the game was Drew Brees. Because Drew Brees came out there at the end of that game. He sliced and diced Minnesota and put them right back in that game and won that damn game. And one asshole that don't understand situational football completely fucked the entire Saints season. Whew. But that's why you play the games. That's any given Sunday. And any given Sunday, man. Any given Sunday. Newspapers. Jukebox. Who the hell? Nobody reads newspapers anymore. What are those for? Now, in other games, this one also, I didn't pick either of the NFC games right. I did not believe in the Eagles or the Vikings. And 100% I didn't think the Eagles were for real. And I still 100% don't think the Eagles were for real. All that we learned in this game between the Eagles and the Falcons is that the Falcons, they suck worse than the Eagles. That's all I learned. The Falcons had so many opportunities to win that game that they couldn't get it done. It was not a single point scored in the second half. Not a single point scored. You were in the Super Bowl. You had so much to prove after what the hell happened to you last season. So much to prove. And that's why your asses are still sitting at the kiddie table and you'll probably never, ever get up. Typical Falcons fashion. Matty ice cold because you are ice cold in the playoffs. That's why you're Matty Ice, because you're ice cold in the playoffs. You can't get it done. Has never gotten it done in a big game. He got it done in some big games last season on the way to the biggest game. And then the epic implosion of an entire franchise as little pieces of Falcon were left all over the field. Again, Atlanta disappoints horrifically. And I picked them both wrong. On both of them. Hey, one was a miracle, and the other, the Falcons should have never lost that game. To only put up 10 points, the Eagles aren't that good. You're supposed to have one of the top, most prolific wide receivers in Julio Jones. You got this stud, $100 million goddamn quarterback. He's got a running game. How do you not get that done? How do you not get that done? But they didn't get it done. And the Eagles move on. Now in the AFC, the Steelers. Steelers fell into one of the biggest traps in all of professional sports. Not just football. Professional sports, period. They looked past their opponent. They were looking to the New England Patriots rematch. They were looking for redemption. They wanted it. They could taste it. That's what they'd been playing for all season, was to meet the New England Patriots, the AFC Championship game, vanquish them, go and win the trophy. That's what they were playing for the whole damn season. They looked past the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Jags came in and punched them right in the fucking mouth in the first 5 seconds of the game and kept dropping bombs. It was the looks on the sideline. The stands were quiet. And for the first quarter or so of that game, it was all Jacksonville, and the Steelers didn't know what the hell hit them. Nobody saw it coming. I didn't see it coming. Nobody thought it happened earlier in the season, so we should have known that there's a possibility. But the Jacksonville Jaguars proved in one game that their defense is really one of them kind of defenses, that maybe it's one of those kind of defenses that can carry Blake Bortles. I hate to even mention it, Raider Nation, and apologize, but maybe it's one of those teams like the 2000 team Bucks. The 2002 Bucks, who had a great defense and Brad Johnson that they carried. Or the 2000 Ravens, who carried Trent Dilfer. You know, is it possible? Is it possible that their defense can play and step up to the challenge and be great enough to elevate Blake Bortles? Exactly. The Bears, or even, Patrick, to take a step more than that, the Bears with Jim McMahon. Jim McMahon wasn't a great quarterback. He was an average quarterback who had an unbelievable, historic defense on the other side of the ball. Jim McMahon was not a great quarterback. He had a lot better weapons than those other guys we're talking about, because he had Willie Gault. I mean, he had and Walter Payton. You know, come on. You got Willie Gault and Walter Payton, and that defense around you, fucking throw my ass in there. Shit. I can hand the ball off to Walter Payton when our defense is scoring points like crazy. I could look like a Pro Bowl quarterback in that shit. So, I mean, are they one of those defenses? Are they one of those defenses that can take a a game manager quarterback like Blake Bortles, who can at points throw the ball and make big plays. So if the defense, like this week, makes turnovers, gives them good field position, sets them up, it's hard to tell. But I think the Steelers fell into the number one trap in all of professional sports, and they looked past. Directly past the Jacksonville Jaguars. They wanted that rematch. Well, the Patriots did their part to get to the rematch. As the Titans, they just couldn't get it done, man. They had the big win in the first round, but everybody knew it was a big challenge for them to go to Foxborough and beat New England. Big challenge. They didn't get it done. It wasn't even close. I mean, New England dominated the whole game. They were up big early, and they cruised. It wasn't even close. Now, what the funniest storyline that I seen coming out is it happened after the fact, after the game, in the Titans New England game. Now, last week, Mike Mularkey came out and said basically that nobody has my back in this organization. I just want it's a playoff game and nobody has my back. I don't feel comfortable in my job. My family doesn't feel comfortable. Blah, blah, blah. You know, it was unprecedented for him to come out and say that. And the organization comes out, backs him. Owner backs Mike Mularkey, says, we got your back. We're bringing you back next year. We're happy about what you're doing in Tennessee. Don't you worry about it, buddy. We got your back. You're our man. We got your back. Fast forward 7 days. Go to New England. Lose. You know what, buddy? I changed my mind. I don't think we need your ass anymore. And give me that key back. Fired. Get out. Now, they're saying they part ways. They couldn't agree on the future. They couldn't agree. The future they couldn't agree on was the future of him working for them anymore. That's what they couldn't agree on. If he would have went to New England and somehow pulled it off, there's no way the fan base allows him to fire them. Allows them to fire him, No way. If he goes there and pulls that off, no way that fan base will allow it. No way. But, didn't happen. So basically, Mularkey tried to play some Jedi mind trick bullshit the week before and get the ownership to basically come out and say that, hey, we're going to back you so that you don't think you're playing for your job next week. When realistically, yeah, you were playing for your job. So, that's tough to have to go to New England. You're on the road. You're playing the defending champs. And you gotta play for your job. Well, when you lose, that's what happens. He's fired. And there's rumors of... Oh, you may recognize this name, a gentleman by the name of Jack Del Rio. There are rumors of Del Rio as a possible hire for the Titans job. That's breaking rumors as of today. So you've got that flying around there now. So will we be meeting up with? Is Mariota going to get a new mentor in Black Jack Del Rio as their next coach? Already heard several rumors about Titans coaches, so it's interesting. So, with those 4 games having happened, that brings us down to 2 more matchups left before the big game. The NFC got 2 teams firmly planted, actually looking at each other directly across the kiddie table. The Vikings and the Eagles. Will one of them remove themselves from the table and come sit up with the rest of the championship-winning franchises? They'll be one step closer. I'm sorry. The Eagles proved to me again in the last game that they are not for real. The Falcons only proved that they suck worse in big games. That's it. That's all that I learned. The Vikings will be good enough to beat the Eagles. They will be the first team to play in a Super Bowl in their home stadium. It's going to happen. The Patriots, Saxonville, as they're freaking calling themselves, I think that train stops in New England. And I don't... Now, if they came out, if Jacksonville can come out and have the type of defensive game that they will have to have against Tom Brady's offense and Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniel and the whole Patriots offensive machine, if they can come out and have the type of defensive game and create turnovers, that's the only way they're going to win this game. The only way is if they came out and pitch and play the perfect game plan on defense. Otherwise, the Patriots are in the Super Bowl again. Now, the very first thing that I said when I sat back and I watched the outcome of all of the games from this weekend, the very first thing that I said when I sat back and I watched the outcome of all of the games, the very first thing I said was, it just got easier for the Patriots to get back in. It just got easier. You took out the two best teams that had a chance to actually beat them. That was the Saints and the Steelers. Those two teams were built to beat them in a matchup. The others, the Jags, we're talking about them having to play the perfect game to beat them. Are you telling me? Let me just break it down to simple math. Nick Foles, Case Keenum, Nick Foles, Case Keenum. Do you think either one of those guys can take down Tom Brady in the Super Bowl and match firepower? Case Keenum, Nick Foles, Blake Bortles, and Tom Brady. Listen, I hate the guy as much as the next guy. This one guy, 5 rings. Two of these guys weren't even starting quarterbacks at the beginning of the season. They only got there by injury. Well, the other one was carried by a stellar defense and in a weak-ass division. It absolutely makes me sick to think that the divisional round of the NFL playoffs may have made it easier for the Cheatriots to get back in. But it's a distinct possibility. Jacksonville has the defense, as they proved against Pittsburgh, to get it done. I don't believe that they don't have the capabilities to get it done. But that's a tall freaking order to go to Foxborough and play a team that knows how to get it done. They've got all the experience. They looked good again. They looked crisp. You just never know. just never know. You just never know. So that's pretty much most of the big news. Let's touch on some of the Raider news from this weekend, as there wasn't a lot, but there was some news. As we brought back the Cable guy, Tom Cable is returning, bringing him back as the offensive line coach. I am actually happy about this. I believe it is going to make a... It is finally going to give you a little insight into the fact that maybe they're thinking about bringing Beast Mode back. Because I think... I want Beast Mode back. And I like the relationship that they had before. So, we'll see what happens. I thought Tom Cable was fired too early the first go-round. I thought he got the axe way too quick. And I'm not unhappy to see him back. We'll see what he can do. I'm not unhappy to see him back. So let's see what he can do. Let's add him into the mix. Obviously, he's going to be under, he's going to be under Gruden. And, they're going to be running the schemes and the offense that they all agree upon. It's not going to be, oh, he's coming in and this is the way we're doing it. The blocking scheme's obviously going to be discussed. It's not going to be, oh, Tom Cable's coming, so this is what we're going to run. Tom Cable's a coach. He's going to run the scheme that they decide is a team that is best for the team. So to think just because he's coming in, oh, that this guy's going to run, he could coach it either way. So I think having Tom there as a divisional coach, as a positional coach, not divisional, positional coach, is a good thing. He has a relationship with the running back who just was starting to click finally at the end of the season last season. It seemed like they were finally starting to use Marshawn right. So, hopefully with somebody he's familiar with, they can have some communication and can make something happen. I think it's a good hire. Now, also on the coaching front, you had Jeff Garcia reaching out to John Gruden about possibly being a quarterback coach for Derek Carr. And obviously the rest of the quarterbacks as well. Mostly Derek Carr. Which is interesting. Jeff Garcia, he's a veteran quarterback. He's definitely... he spent some years, under center as a starting quarterback for various franchises. Mostly San Francisco, I think, was his longest tenure. But do we honestly... Is there a need for a quarterback? I mean... I guess you need a guy there who's going to run them through their everyday stuff because the head coach is not available for that. But to be the mentor who's going to be that guy in the ear of Derek Carr, isn't that going to be John Gruden? So I don't know how much that need is needing to be filled. Because I think that's already taken a lot by John Gruden being there. He's going to be the voice in the ear of Derek Carr for the most part. But Jeff Garcia, is interesting. And he's worked with Gruden. He understands the grind, much like Gannon did, who decided he didn't want any part of that grind after he stopped and thought about it. Sound like a novel idea. Go back and get that elusive ring that didn't get the first time around. But when he stopped to think about the cushy job that he already has, it's a great gig. Everybody wants the job that he has. If he leaves that job, he might not get that job back. And, I'm not going to get fired from this job. That job, that's only going to be a short-term job. If you go be the quarterback coach for the Oakland Raiders, under John Gruden, you don't know how long that job's going to be. Honestly. And I'm sure it's a little bit of a high-stress job, I would imagine. So I can't blame the guy. If you're just joining me, thank you for joining me. Those of you that have already been here, I appreciate you stopping by as always. This is the Monday edition of Ghost to the Post, where we drop back deep in the pocket, let it fly league-wide, touching on all the hot league stories from the weekend. So if you're tuning in tonight and expecting it to be all silver and black, I'm sorry, but you are mistaken. Tomorrow, however, it's a solid 60 minutes of everything silver and black, as it's the Raider Nation Report with yours truly, as we spend a solid 60 minutes on every single thing going down in the Raider Nation world. Every Tuesday on Raider Reaction, the Raider Nation Report. Any word on Charles Woodson's joining the coaching staff? That is cold. It's cold. Woodson's pretty much blown it down. Same as Gannon. Woodson's got a great gig. He's in the booth. He's getting to go to the games. He's not really he's just having to give his little analysis. He's at the games. He gets to hang out with the fans. He's got a great gig right now. He's out there. His face is out there. He's still in the public eye every Sunday. Right now, Charles Woodson has a great gig. And the thing about Charles Woodson, even though he even said it in the interview himself, that the only thing that he left that maybe out there, that the only thing that would draw him back is the fact that he never got a ring with the Raiders. But does that have enough pull when he does have a ring? Because him having a ring is a lot different than the guys who don't have a ring. Then there's a really, really draw to not be able to ever have called yourself a champion in your career. So does he come back to get the ring? I don't know, but the draw doesn't seem... It doesn't seem like it's going to happen this season. He's been pretty adamant about him staying in the booth. That he's only been retired a couple seasons, and I don't think he's ready to come back to the grind yet. You know, he's got the vineyard going, the wine going. He's got the wine thing. He's got other things going. He's a multifaceted guy. He's got 2 young sons. He's got things going on, man. And I don't think he's ready for that grind. Yes, he's got a ring. He got a ring with Green Bay. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, Charles has a ring. Yeah, he'd like to have gotten one. But, Charles has hardware. Charles has a Heisman Trophy. Charles has hardware. He's got hardware. So, hold on. Lions got a quick. Do I see anyone knocking off the Pats? Do I see anyone knocking off the Patriots? Like I said, the first thing I said to myself when I saw the shakeout of all of the games, I just sat back, I looked at it, and I said, shit. It just got easier for New England. That was my first thought. When I looked at this, without putting any deep thought into it, just to glance at it, I'd be like, it just got easier for New England. You just took their biggest competition out. You took their biggest competition out of the AFC. The team they matched up against last year, who was lined up for a rematch, who was locked and loaded, who had the talent, everything, and they just looked past the Jags. I don't count the Jags out, Ed, but like I said earlier, the Jags will have to play the perfect game on defense. The perfect game. Because everybody's looked past the fact that the Patriots' defense has been much improved down the stretch. You can never count out a team that has a great defense. Jacksonville has a great defense, and you can never, ever count out a team that has a great defense. So, I don't see anybody. I hope Jacksonville bounces the Patriots. Obviously, that's what I want. I think that's what most people want to see. I just can't make myself believe to see it. I don't believe that Blake Bortles is going to take down Tom Brady. I don't believe that Case Keenum or Nick Foles is going to take down Tom Brady. I don't see any three of those quarterbacks matching firepower in a Super Bowl. I just don't. It makes me sick to my stomach to have to say it. Disgusts me. Ugh. But the logical realist in me just can't see it any other way. Jacksonville proved this weekend that they have the defensive capabilities to get it done. But turnovers are a little bit of luck, too. It's a funny-shaped ball, man, and fumbles bounce weird ways. You don't always get the scoop and score like you got this last week. Sometimes, even though you get the fumble, the offense still recovers. Or that interception, now it's a tipped ball. You have one of arguably the most accurate quarterbacks in Tom Brady. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I think you're looking at a Vikings-Patriots Super Bowl. Vikings-Patriots Super Bowl. I cannot believe the Vikings are going to make the Super Bowl. It absolutely blows my mind. I did not think they could get it done, but they got the gift of one of the greatest fluke, come from behind, miracle damn plays that you'll ever see in sports. That's what makes sports sport. That's why we watch every damn week. That's why we watch. Because you never know when that crazy... me and my son were sitting there watching it. Me and the Commish Jr. we was watching the game, and he's like... Because I wanted the Saints to win. I picked them. I wanted to see the Vikings bounce. I hate the fucking Vikings. Always have. I was rooting against them. Like I say, I never root for any team. But I will root for someone to lose. I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe. And so they get to play the runner-up. The fucking Eagles are only in the NFC Championship game. Only in the NFC Championship game because the Falcons suck in big games. The Eagles have limped through. They limped to a first-round bye. The Falcons just forgot to get off the fucking plane. And now they're limping into the championship game. They're not for real, and the Vikings are going to get in. They're going to be the first team to ever play in the Super Bowl in their home stadium. But they're going to fucking lose. They're going to lose. They're going to lose. They're going to lose. They're going to lose. So, we will get into more of that, and we will make our picks on the Wednesday edition of Ghost to the Post as we go silver and black coast to coast with myself and NorCal Raider Rick on Wednesday. Of course, tomorrow, solid 60 minutes of everything silver and black with the Raider Nation report. So make sure you tune in tomorrow as we will get into every little nugget as well as who we should be looking at for our number 1 overall draft pick, how the coaching tree is looking, possible players who are going to be released, who's going to be retained, all that fun stuff. Because I'm sure you all have some opinions on that. Now on Thursday, I do believe I'm going to have Captain back in studio with me. So we'll have a little dual Raider action, as I'm sure the Captain has a lot to discuss with me about the Gruden signing. And we haven't had the Captain in since Gruden's been brought aboard. So that should be interesting. And then, of course, on Friday, I have an extra special game picked out for you that I think you guys will enjoy for Silver and Black Theater on Black Friday. And then Saturday, it's Fight Night on Raider Reactions. We're going to be live with Robert the Pitbull Masseline. His debut fight, kickboxing match over at Combat Night in Orlando. We'll be over there live ringside and be bringing you some live stream fight action Saturday night as one of the members of the Orlando Raider Nation who is going to have his debut match. And I'll tell you what, man, I stayed and watched that guy train even after, the video, and dude, I'm looking forward to watching Pitbull fight. It's gonna be good. Let's not talk, Jake. Let's not talk about the Madden matchup. That is a badge of shame that I have to wear now because I got my ass straight fucking handed to me. So we won't talk about that. That was bad. Really bad. Really bad. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. It was one of those games where every damn thing in the world went wrong. Everything. It was really bad. Which is probably why you won't see it up on the page. Because it's not up there for anybody to relive. Delete! No record of this will ever remain in the annals of Raider Reaction. This video will not be saved in the YouTube archives. This will not stick around. Delete. It was bad. My son was even watching me like, damn, Dad. I'm like, what's going on? It was painful. Fucking Bucks fan. Damn. Oh, everything went wrong, man. Oh, painful memories. I kind of forgot about it till you brought it up. Oh, you shut up, Raider Mike. You better not. I should have handed the Commish Jr. the controller and let him play and be like, bring me from behind. But actually, I almost, at one point in the second half, I was back within 14, and then all fell apart again. So, I did actually score. I did actually score. Oh, no. Oh, man. It was bad. And the crazy thing is now, now, this is going to sound terrible, like I'm making a fucking excuse. But I'm not making an excuse, but I'm going to tell you that, like 30 seconds into the game, my wife was out there to help with the baby. The baby wakes up, so I'm trying to do baby action. My other son's trying to help me, and we're getting the game started, and the whole thing's out of, it's just, it was terrible. I was distracted. And then I started doing shit I shouldn't have done. You know how it is. I got behind, and then I started doing stupid shit, and man, couldn't get a tip. Everyone had to be a pick. Everyone had to be a pick. I couldn't get a tip for nothing. No, it was totally my fault. I was the only one on the computer. I ain't blaming, or on the controller. I ain't blaming nobody. It was a bad game. Raider Mike, you son of a bitch. Don't you blackmail me with my Raiders Bucks footage, Raider Mike. There'll be none of that shit. Don't you be blackmailing me. There'll be none of that. No blackmailing allowed. That was bad. That was really bad. Really, really bad. So, as we end every episode, at least solo episode of Raider Reaction, remember tomorrow, Raider Nation Report, solid 60 minutes of everything silver and black. Wednesday, another edition of Ghost of the Post with myself and NorCal Raider Rick. Thursday, I do believe the captain will be back in studio with me. And then Friday, Black Friday, Silver and Black Theater, as we'll air another classic game from the Raider archives. And I got a stellar one picked out for you this weekend. It was embarrassing, Raider Mike. Thank you. Thank you all. Thanks, Jake, for bringing it up. Why you gotta bring up bad things, man? I almost made it through the whole show and nobody brought it up. Right at the end. God damn it. That's alright. At least it's towards the end, so if anybody watches the repeat of it, they probably won't make it this damn far. So they'll never know my shame. I'm never telling any of you the final score, because you'll never know that. You ain't got that, Raider Mike, because I cut off the feed at halftime. But my WTF for tonight. My WTF for tonight involves, what the hell else could it involve but the fucking Saints-Vikings game? The Saints-Vikings game. Marcus Williams. Every coach that you ever had in your career was asking themselves the same question. Is that how I taught you to tackle? His Pop Warner coach, his middle school coach, his high school coach, his college coach, every positional coach he'd ever had was all asking themselves the same question. Is that how I taught you how to tackle? Head up, shoulder, wrap up. He comes in. It completely turns his body so his head is ducked down in some sort of flying fetal position with his arms tucked in. He didn't even tackle because his arms weren't out to tackle anything. He was, I don't know what the hell it was. He tried to hit him with the small of his back or in between his shoulder blades. It's like he didn't even... It didn't even lead in with shoulder. It was a complete and utter whiff. Every single, my God. My son even knows on Madden, simple situational football, that all you know is, it doesn't even matter if he catches that ball. All you do is make the tackle. Wrap him up and get him to the ground. That's it. That's it. That's all you have to do. Oh my God. Basic football. The first thing they teach you in Pee Wee League. How to tackle the damn dummy. It's the first thing you learn. The first thing you learn. Oh. Is this what happens because you don't practice anymore in the NFL? Is this what happens when you don't have practice anymore? Is the guys forget how to tackle? Because apparently it's starting to look like it. Basics, fundamental football is starting to deteriorate because, explain to me. You practice your ass off in Pee Wee football. You practice your ass off in middle school. You practice your ass off in high school. You practice your ass off in college. You practice. practice, practice, practice. And then you get to the professional level and you don't practice anymore? That doesn't make any damn sense. You get to this level and you don't practice anymore. So maybe that is the byproduct of this new CBA collective and bargaining agreement that you have, where they're not allowed to practice anymore. And this is what you get, is you get crappy tackling. I don't know. But I can tell you one thing. Marcus Williams, Pop Warner coach, his middle school coach, his high school coach, his college coach, his positional coaches in the pros, his defensive coordinator, his head coach, every player on his teammate, damn near everybody he's ever known in his entire football career, all at one time looked at him and said, "What the fuck? How could you not tackle it? Why, Marcus? Why?" Thanks for joining me tonight. As always, I appreciate any second you spend with me. Even if it's a second, I don't care. That's 1 second you hung out with me instead of doing something else. So I appreciate it. Tune in tomorrow as we got a solid 60 minutes of everything silver and black. Everything silver and black. We've got an awesome week planned for you tonight. We got live fight nights on Saturday. So we're going to be ringside at Robert the Pitbull Massoline's debut. We're going to be there on Saturday. We've got shows all week for you. And the NorCal Raider Rick, we're going to have the captain in studio. So, there's no Raider football. Hopefully you can hang out with us, and we'll talk some Raider football this week. I'm out. Thanks for joining me. As always, I appreciate it. My band of pirates. I am out. Peace, love, Raider Nation!